Hey, if you don't know us
we are
yet,
Leslie and April.
we are two
We
chicks
have been
chatting.
friends for 30 plus years, and we have been learning and growing individually and together.
Through this adventure called life.
Get
Get
ready to
ready to
love
love
us.
us.
We are two badass chicks sharing our unique perspectives, dropping some knowledge with more than a few F bombs along the way.
Join us, relax, and enjoy. Please comment, share, subscribe, and follow. Now that we've had, a couple of weeks to even think maybe a little deeper about our perception of what femininity means, uh, because I don't think that as a society of human beings, not just Americans, but human beings, period, that we have a clear definition of those words, masculinity and femininity. And I also don't think that there's a way to convince people that don't understand femininity as an energy as opposed to a body part,
Yes.
that there's a way to convince them out of that thinking.
Well, there's some people you can, but some people you're not. So, but I found an amazing infographic that I wanted to just talk about when
Yeah.
you're ready. And it talks about just what you're saying. It doesn't say feminine or masculine, it says feminine energy and masculine energy.
Yeah.
And in the middle, where the two circles, are mutually exclusive and mutually inclusive, in the middle, it shows balance.
But yeah, so it's like a Venn diagram where the two.
Yes.
Yeah.
The two circles overlap a little bit in the middle, and then one side's feminine, one side masculine. And I would like to read you what they think is the definition of that, because it's the best one I've seen so far.
Okay, do it.
So for the feminine side, it says intuitive. It just has words. Intuitive, senses, creativity, nurturing, experience, reflective, being, collaborative, expressive, receiving, vulnerable, patient, empathic, trusting, and grounded.
Okay.
And then for which I agree with most of those, but I feel
I agree with all of
personally,
them.
yeah, I feel personally that I have a lot of masculine as well.
But
So
if it's an energy, it's not negative or positive
it isn't.
on either side. It's just
And I think
do
the
you
point
need
is that it's balanced in the middle.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I heard an explanation earlier today from a lady named Michelle Miller. She did a TED talk, and the way she described femininity and masculinity is femininity is experiential, so it's all about the experience, and masculinity is about results.
Mm.
And as she talked, I was like, yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I think that's absolutely true. And they can cross over and merge, but the feminine energy is about getting the caffeine out of the coffee because you need the energy, but drinking it out of a nice cup. So yeah, I want the experience of having, a nice
Right.
cup of coffee, but I'm having it because I need that kick.
Yeah.
So the two things are cohesive.
Right. No, but I agree. I want to get your take on the masculine side. So the masculine side says logical, mind, decisiveness, decisive action, risk taking, achieving, impulsive, controlling, competitive, intellectual, giving, resilient, focused, analytical, assertive, and disciplined. And
Okay.
it's funny because I feel like I'm half of those things also, you know.
I think for the most part, you're all of those things. I think the degree to which
Yeah.
you are all those things ebbs and flows. And I think that's true for almost everybody. But I think the reality is, as women, we grew up in the age when women were just getting to have control of themselves.
Mm,
Our autonomy was just being handed back to us. But the only way it got handed back to you wholly is if you acted like a man.
right.
So if you spent more time in that masculine energy than you spent in the feminine energy, we want you to look feminine, but act masculine.
Right.
And we did that for about 25 years until we finally said, yeah, I can wear a tie and a collared shirt, but I'm not wearing 6-inch heels too.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I'm,
I think that, yeah, that has, I think it's shifted a little bit given what's been going on, but with the whole world, in general.
yeah,
But I, and for many facets of that, not just what's going on with sexual harassment and the Black movement, and working from home and not having to do all that anymore, and not being able to travel and not having to see clients because you're not getting dressed up anymore. But I I think there's a shift in a lot of women's minds, including mine, where I don't put makeup on every day anymore. I don't, you know, do all the. I let my hair dry natural. I just don't do any of it anymore.
well,
Like,
I think women in the last 10 years have stopped existing strictly for the pleasure of others, whether
yeah,
that's other women or other men, men, period. But the idea that your presence needs to be acceptable to the other as a start to
mhm,
entering the world. I got to get
yep,
out of bed and I got to make myself, you know, physically
some,
pleasing to the
yeah,
other and then act in a way that's emotionally pleasing to the other uh, is not a base that we're working from anymore.
yeah. And I'm still fighting that fight, even at my age. And, given what I already know and who I know that I am and who I'm growing to become every day,
Yeah,
I still fight that fight every day.
I think we will. I think the next generation, my daughter, I don't think she'll fight that fight. It's interesting to me though how I don't. It's like weird because I love that she has that independence, but it pisses me off too because I'm like, I don't get to roll like that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
So you have to pull yourself. I have to pull myself back from saying things that were said to me
yep.
that really were an effort to control you.
Like what? Give me some examples, just out of sheer curiosity.
Okay, you're gonna wear that out.
Oh yeah,
Don't you think that's a little provocative?
yeah,
How come you're wearing your hair like that today?
yeah.
I don't know. That eye makeup just looks a little too old for you.
Yeah.
What do you think men are going to think when they see you dressed like
Yep. Yeah.
Those things roll through my mind because those were the things I was told, from my mother
Right.
in that mindset of in order for men to act like normal human beings, women have to control them.
Yeah, and it goes into that whole conversation about objectifying women, and you know, the balance between, if you're doing it for yourself, and where's the line? There is no line really. You do you, and you
But
know, but
when do you divorce yourself from the idea that you're doing this for the pleasantness of other people, and then you're doing those things for yourself? It's like in the movie, it reminds me of this movie, Gypsy Rose Lee. I don't know if you ever saw that movie.
mm-mm.
Oh my God, it's a great movie. Older
Okay,
movie.
got it.
But the main character, Gypsy in the movie, her mother wanted her to be an actress. Her mother wanted to be a great actress, and she was really kind of a vaudeville actress. She never made it. And she wanted her daughter to be, an actress and really make it. And she stood behind her and pushed her and pushed her and pushed her. And they had the opportunity one day for her to do a striptease because she wasn't making it any other way in Hollywood or, in the acting business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And her mom pushed her out on stage and was like, no, you have to do it. You have to take this role, just take off a glove, or, you know what I mean? Walk cute and take off a glove and throw it out in the audience. And she got pushed into that first moment.
Yeah.
But then she decided on her own that she was going to take this role on, that she was going to take on this persona. And she became one of the most famous striptease artists ever. And she was never naked on stage.
Mm.
Phenomenal. Like her whole act was about the tease. It was not about the nudity. It was about the tease.
Which men would love. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
it's like seeing that in a film, seeing that transition of someone having to act a certain way to be considered valuable in the world, and then turning that on its head and taking control of it and turning it completely into something else.
She empowered herself given what she had to do. But, that can also go negative. I mean, I'm glad that worked out for her, but
it was a movie. So it was supposed to work out for her. It was based on reality, but it worked out for her. I'm sure it didn't work out for a whole lot of women.
Yeah.
But the thing that I'm focusing on is the idea of when does that happen for a person, especially a woman in the world today, when a woman decides that I am going to be in control of this ship, and what you're doing in your day, if you're wearing stilettos, if you're putting on a full face of makeup, if you're, blow drying your hair for an hour and a half in the day, when does it come, the transition come where you're doing that for your visual preference?
Well, I think we should back up, because I don't think in that scenario, like, let's just use that as an example, that maybe she would have chose that for herself as her inner person. She was forced to do that.
Only once.
No, I know.
To do it one time.
No, I know. But you get what I'm saying. Maybe inside she's an opera singer when she, you know what I mean? She had a love for singing, or a love for art, or a love for playing music, or something else. I don't think strip teasing was first on her list, is what I'm saying. So
no, and I'm not saying that was the choice. I guess
I want to talk about the empowerment and the choice. I'm just saying one step back is, it would be better if we all could empower each other, as moms, as sisters, as aunts, whatever, to cultivate what's inside of us, instead of forcing people to do things they don't really want to do, or they're doing it to make other people happy, or do what they think society is asking them to do.
I agree. So I just don't know where that, as a woman in the world, even for myself, I'm not sure where that line is. I'm not sure when I choose outfits that I'm choosing them specifically for myself. And I'm not choosing them for the outward appreciation of the people that are going to see me. So that's the shift that I think about. It's like when I am talking to my child, when I'm talking to my teenage daughter, and she's choosing a bathing suit, it's like, I know you're choosing that partially because of the look you're going to get when the opposite sex sees you, or when
Mm,
people see you in general, not even the opposite sex, just the fact that you look stunning in that thing.
yeah. Um, I think it has to do, or at least for me, it has to do with, do I do I like it regardless if anybody is seeing me or watching me? Do I personally like it? Does it feel good? Is it making me happy? Does it spark joy in me? If it sparks joy in me, then I know that that's the right thing. I'll give you an example. So I got these they almost look like just oversized, really thin strapped overalls, but they're flowy and almost linen at the bottom. And I got them in and they were way too big, but I liked that it was flowy and too big.
Yeah.
And it wore a little tank or a regular shirt underneath of it. And I just loved it. And I didn't care that it wasn't showing my figure. I didn't care that it wasn't, and I wore these super cool new shoes that I got that were flats,
Yeah.
that kind of looked Asian but modern. And I was like, okay, this is the whole look and I'm loving it. And I don't care what anyone thinks. And people might think I'm a crazy artist, So I went out and I don't know if it was my energy or whatever it was. Everybody was giving me compliments left and right. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I love that. That is so great. Where did you get that? And um it and I didn't do it for that. I did it for me. But in the past, I have absolutely dressed for other perceptions, other, especially in business, but other, what other people think, only wearing black or only wearing, darker colors because that makes you look slimmer, only wearing, you know, things that I know are non-controversial, that don't have a lot of pattern in them, don't, spark conversation or
Yes.
anything. They make you blend in, for a lack of a better term. But
Yeah. Yeah. They make you invisible.
they make you invisible. So I'm shedding that and doing what I damn want to now,
Yeah.
and loving that because it, dressing is a part of your self-expression. And I really don't give a shit. I don't know if that's just maturity with my age, but I really don't care anymore. And
Well,
um
even if it's maturity, it also has to fit within the guise of the society that is around you. You know what I mean? Like, maturity can be that what you can be, who you want to be behind closed doors, inside your own mind, the whole 9 yards. But when you go out in the world, there's a certain acceptability that we all are has a level of pressure on us, whether we
mm,
identify with it or not. And I
mm,
think the Gen Zers of the world don't have that. They don't see it. They don't it's one of the things that I find interesting, that adults say, well, they don't have any respect, or they don't know what hard work is, or they don't know what impression is. That's really what it is.
yes.
They don't know from childhood what it means to be oppressed.
Yes, I'm working with someone like that, actually. She goes on Zoom calls, a recorded webinar with her hair up in a bun, all scraggly, and
Yeah.
a t-shirt looks like she just worked out in.
Yeah, because I'm here to do a job, and my outfit should not be a qualification of how good I am at what I'm doing.
Yep.
And I absolutely agree with that mentality. I'm like, 100%, baby, do you, show up
Mm,
the way you need to show up, and show out when you show up.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love that. That's the natural tendency of younger women now. The natural tendency is, this is who I am, and I'm not making choices to
Yeah.
suit what you think is appropriate, which
Yeah.
I totally dig it. I
Yeah.
totally dig it. One of the things that Michelle Miller said, she said, trying to explain femininity to someone who is predominant masculine energy, that's the energy they put forward on a regular basis, is like trying to explain lovemaking to someone who's only ever masturbated. And
They don't get it. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, don't you get the same good feeling at the end? And it's like, it's a whole different level. It's a
Yeah.
whole different level. You can't even identify with it.
Mm.
But it would make you so much more clear and satisfied in life.
Yes, I think that's on both sides. And so how I mean, these kind of conversations help, but how do we get the word out to get people to understand that their energies and not um you know your persona per se, their energies of what's in you, and we all have both, and we all need that balance. And if you are definitely kiltered one way or the other, you're gonna wobble a lot more in life than you might otherwise. It helps you in every area, not just work.
Yes, I was listening to a TikTok a little earlier, and they were talking about the way that we exist on the earth, and the way the Hopi Indians, and I rather say Hopi natives as opposed to Hopi Indians, because I think Indian is derogatory. But anyway, in the context of American Indian, anyway, uh, they were talking about the way that we should be in tune with the land,
Mm,
and they were talking about trees and the fact that trees breathe in what we exhale, and we inhale what trees exhale.
yep.
So there's a symbiosis there,
Oh, for sure.
and it took forever for humans to realize, by killing trees you're killing yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're ending what the thing that feeds you, that
Yeah, and
allows you to have life.
look at the environment now. We're really starting to actually see what's going on.
Well, and
You know.
it's probably been 50 years that people have been, saying, are we really still going to do this? Like,
Yeah,
are you serious?
and
So,
they're just starting to try to right that ship.
so yes, there is that, but there's that kind of symbiosis is
Mm,
something that I think has to start getting talked about in relationship to femininity and masculinity, that
yeah,
they are, you know, twin flames as opposed to opposites.
that's it.
So,
And the funny thing about that twin flame energy, until you get um, balanced, you know,
yeah,
it it's wobbly all over the place. So
yeah,
until it's that push and pull and push and pull and push and pull and push and pull, and then finally it starts to weave together, and there's balance, or at least some starting. The back and forth is starting to flat out. Get flat. But
yeah. It's a practice, and it's something that you have to try and be conscious of in
mm,
the way that you approach life.
yeah,
And I think there are too many Americans specifically who are male gendered,
mm,
that live in a belief system of anti femininity because they believe feminine equals gay, masculine equals male.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
a male that's feminine is a gay man, and a male, non-gay men are just masculine. It is what it is. And that idea has to be put to death.
Yeah. Well, that's the ego. That's the ego. And there's a female ego just as much as there's a male ego, but
Everybody has ego, yeah.
yeah. So I think that when you're programmed to say, okay, I have to be this certain way because that's what society expects of me, that's what my family and friends expect of me, that's what the world expects of me, then it's hard to break out of that programming to say, who am I? What do I feel? What do I think? Are you questioning yourself on a regular basis to say, is this really something that I want to portray or be?
Yeah.
Is this something I need to shed, from myself and really explore the reasons why, or how, what do I replace that space with inside of me, and how do I do that? How do I get it more aligned with who I am? And they have to be seekers, is what I call it, seekers in finding out what you think and not what everybody's telling you. And yes, you use all the information around us to develop your own ideas, but also life experience helps you develop them, in real life, in the present moment. So you have to figure that out for yourself. And I think
if femininity is experiential, if it's about the experience,
yeah,
and masculinity is about the result, then people that are hyper masculine will never seek out an experience.
Oh,
that.
Yes.
and
a lot of them want the result and don't realize they have to go through many experiences to try to find that result. So then,
and I think this is why a lot of marriages don't work out.
Oh yeah,
because absolutely. It's like, you don't want the experience of having a relationship. You want the experience of having a ownership of a person. You that's really what you want.
Yeah.
You want control.
Control. You don't want to explore and see, how what surprises may lie in discovering who each other is on some deeper level than just,
yes,
everyday stuff.
And beyond, you're my wife, you're my husband, I'm in control, go clean the house.
And I love it when people talk about their spouses and they're like, oh, I love him because he's a good provider and he does this and he does that. And I'm like, but that doesn't tell me who he is. Is he a kind person? Is he loyal?
Exactly.
Is he loving?
If you love somebody because they're a good provider, so you could have married a Visa card.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because a lot of the attributes that people say they're looking for, it has nothing to do with who they are as a person. And it almost seems like they don't even care. I don't that's just a side thing, like I want, like a man could want somebody to look the part, be beautiful little arm candy and not give him any problems. And he takes care of everything, and that's that. And some people live their whole lives in that kind of marriage, but somebody with any depth isn't going to be okay with that. They're going to want to have connection. It's all about connection. And it's not just in personal, like love relationships. It's also in friendships. It's in family. You want that level of connection. And I've had experiences where people, tell me, wow, that's too deep. I'm like, okay, let's talk about the weather then. Like, I don't know where to go. This is who I am. Like, if you don't want to go that deep, then that's fine. I don't want to force you to talk about things that make you uncomfortable. but
But why are
you
you
know,
uncomfortable? What,
well,
what,
and that's the question they should be answering themselves to
yeah.
them, or asking themselves, but I can't do that for them, and nor am I going to try, especially in a social situation. I'm just like,
Oh,
okay, you know.
yeah.
Um, but it
I,
definitely puts a damper in the whole conversation, because I'm like, okay, well, that's what jazzes me. So if you don't want to talk about it, that's cool. But I don't know, I don't
yeah,
know where to go from here.
I've gotten to the point where I'm like, we don't need to talk then. We don't have anything to talk about, because if I'm talking to you about something that's deeper than the surface, I already know enough about your surface,
Yeah.
then I'm not interested in that anymore.
Yeah.
So let's talk about something a little deeper. And if you don't want to talk about something a little deeper, then what you're telling me is that I'm just going to live in this space and everything else has no value to me. Okay,
Right.
then we can't hang. I'm gonna go
Right.
to the bar
Or
and get
you
myself
don't need,
another
you
drink,
don't
and I may as well talk to the bartender. I don't even know him.
have a better conversation, maybe get a joke out of it. Anyway.
Exactly.
But I agree 110%. I just don't know. I don't, leave the door open for people like that to come back and talk, but yeah, it's hard. I know you and I have talked about this before, being explorative seekers that I think we are. How do we, share these thoughts about masculine and femininity and get into the weeds like we are today, and without losing people, and people thinking, oh my God, what is this about? And I don't want to go that deep. It's Friday. I just want a beer, or whatever. And, we have those moments too, where we just
Yes.
want to hang and chill. And, it's not that we're not human. It's just that that's what excites us. And I really want to pull together more people that have that level of excitement about the exploration of who we are as beings, and really want to explore it for real, like not just talk about it,
Yes.
So, and I don't know. It's hard because
I don't feel like I have a desire anymore, or maybe any less, for me personally, to
yeah,
engage with people who, could care less, that don't have any depth, or aren't looking for any kind of depth. I just don't want to know you.
yeah,
That's where I am. And if you want to know me, you're going to have to be willing to jump into the deep side of the pool,
right,
and I'm happy to help you walk that walk. But
right,
if your answer is, I don't want to go there, then we
yeah,
can't talk. That's all. That's simple. I mean,
mm,
I love my daughter more than any other human on earth. But when she comes to me talking to me about some TV show where so and so is dating so and so, and I'm
oh
like,
yeah,
I do
yeah.
not care about this at all.
Yeah.
At all. Like,
Yeah.
you
No,
may
I
as
get
well
it.
walk up to me and just spout mumbo jumbo. I have no desire to hear
Yeah.
any of that.
Mm.
Thank you for wanting to share, but take that
Yes.
thought and go someplace else.
Yeah. No, I
And
know.
now she's like, you never want to talk about anything I'm interested in. And I'm like, get interested in some new stuff.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. If you
Well,
want to
you
talk
just
to me,
had different places and different interests in your life, and
well,
yeah,
if you want to talk to me, then you're going to have to get interested in something I'm interested in. And if you
yeah.
don't, then we can talk about tacos. I'm good with that. We're going to make dinner. But that's an 8-minute conversation, because I've made like 100,000 tacos. So,
Oh my God. Yeah.
but
No.
on the other hand, I slip it in where I can,
Oh
talking
yeah.
about some more advanced subject matter. I want to know what you think about the world around you. I want to know what you think is actually going on. And I'm surprised sometimes at the depth of knowledge that she has on varying subjects, because I've made her pay attention to more than just the surface. you know, and she gets it, but doesn't really know where to put it yet, which I understand 100%. And I'm hoping that that's going to be the case for a whole plethora of people that I'm going to meet in my life, that they're, even though, you know, their initial approach might be clumsy, the depth of where they live and the things that they feel are important is going to come through.
Yeah.
You know, because I recognize not everybody has language for it, but they feel it.
They do, but there's another step in there too, that they feel it and they know it, and you kind of creeping up on something that makes them uncomfortable, but they don't necessarily want to talk about it because because of that uncomfortability. So they hopefully it'll plant a seed. I don't know, but I've had situations where, you know, I start talking about some of this and you can tell they just are not down, or they trying to change the subject, or they just don't know what to say. And
yeah, I'm at the age now where I'm happy to get kicked out of that room. I'm like,
but
kick me out of the room.
I think it hits a chord with them that they're not ready to strum. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But I'm hoping that it helps to trigger something, you know, for maybe down the line. But
I just don't know how long we have to allow for the opportunity of personal growth. You know, I'm wondering, are we coming to a point in time where we're flat out going to have to say, the way you've been doing it, we've tried it, and it's horse shit. We're going a different direction.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
You know, you can be mad, pissed off, annoyed, cry, whatever you want to do, but we're turning the boat.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of companies trying to do that now, or at least some, and trying to be more nimble, and not the large ones, but the ones that can turn the boat. They're trying, but they're few and far between. And I think that some people, which is really where it all comes from, is they're trying to make a paradigm shift, is what really you're talking about.
Yeah.
In how things are done. But you know, I run up
is present. I feel like the shift is, I feel like the you know, the 2.0 quake is happening. It's going to keep raising, and everybody that isn't, you know, understanding what's actually happening and is trying to stop the quake, is just going to get tossed off, you know, tossed off